سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهد يا صاحي كي تستريح.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he first started, he started off very small in terms of giving his da'wah, right? He started off very quiet in the Makki period. And then even as the ummah grew, you would think that that's an achievement, right? That your job is kind of done. The Muslim empire was very strong. But then he still had concern. Even though they had been doing great, they had been winning wars, taking over countries, giving da'wah, spreading Islam all over the place, he still had concern. He would still cry every single day. We know the hadith when the Sahaba came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, the companions came to the Prophet and they said that, why are you crying? And he said that I'm crying for my brothers. And they said that we are your brothers. And he said, no, you're not my brothers. You're my companions. My brothers are the ones who will come after you and I will not have seen them. Right? Rasulullah is talking about us. He's talking about us being his brothers. So the main point that I'm trying to draw here is the fact that he had concern even though we weren't even here. He used to cry for the people who are not Muslim, right? Because he had seen, he went to Isra al-Mi'raj, he went to the journey to the heavens. He had seen what heaven has for us. He had seen what hell awaits us. And we learn about heaven and hell from what? The hadith, from the narrations of the Prophet, peace be upon him. He knows how bad it is, which is why he has the concern. If we were to see, for example, when we have a baby in the house and there's an electrical outlet and the baby goes poking towards it, we try to stop the baby, like don't go there. But it seems perfectly fine. Electricity is not seen by the naked eye, we're just there going on, right? Until you start poking at it. But we know that, but the baby doesn't know that. Similarly, Rasulullah had concern for us because he saw what was awaiting us. We were the baby trying to poke into the outlet. We were the baby trying to touch the fire because it looked interesting to us. It tempted us, like the fitna in this world. My point is not the fitna or temptation. My point is something else actually today. Because I experienced something today and I thought that someone approached someone completely incorrectly in the masjid. And it's really important for us to know how to approach people. So today's topic, advice. What does that mean? I mentioned earlier that Rasulullah went out of his way. He would cry and then he would give da'wah. He would give so much da'wah all throughout the day. So his schedule was like this. Throughout the day he would give da'wah, he would preach about Islam, and throughout the night he would pray. We can't do that because he had the strength of a prophet, right? But he continued this da'wah. Even Nuh alayhi salam continued his da'wah, right? All the prophets continued their da'wah because of what they knew what was awaiting. But the main thing is they had concern, they had love. So when it comes to us having concern for our brother, we should first check something. We should check our intention. Because there's a difference between passing judgment and actually trying to help somebody. Right? It's easy to say, bro, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this. That's wrong. Everyone knows what's wrong. It's in the Quran. It's clear. And it should be clear. We should know what is wrong, what is right. There shouldn't be a confusion about this. But the approach matters. How you approach your brother, how you approach your sister, how you approach your family members, how you approach your friends, that matters. So Rasulullah, we have to learn from his approach. Look at how he approached the ummah in the seerah. He started off small, quiet, then he slowly gave private da'wah, then he moved up. So we can take something from that. That means we shouldn't just go up and be like, hey, this is wrong, this is right. You don't become a haram police. You don't do that. That's not your point. That's not your objective. Your objective is to help your brother. And if you don't have that concern and love, if you're saying that, I think Sayyid is doing something wrong, right? That's good. You think something is happening that's wrong. Now, I want to stop Sayyid. Question is, why do you want to stop Sayyid? Or I want to make a comment about Sayyid. Why do you want to make a comment about Sayyid? Is it because you have love towards Sayyid? Is it because you have concern for his akhirah? Or is it because you just want to say something because you're used to saying something? Right? Is it because you want to maybe embarrass him or embarrass her because she's not wearing a scarf? Right? We have to check our intentions first before we go out. So first check our intentions when it comes to giving nasiha. The second thing is the approach, as I mentioned. Approach is a time and place for everything. If someone is doing something incorrect right in front of you, they might not know it's incorrect to begin with. So for you to just jump in and be like, hey, that's wrong, we should not do that. We should think, I mean, if you know the person close enough, then that's different. Based on your personal relationship that you have with people around you, determine how you should approach that person. But most of the time, you shouldn't just jump into it and be like, bro, this is wrong, don't do it. Like, I mean, I'll give you an example. Example is, for example, someone is trying to eat something and the food is haram, but he doesn't know it. I'm going to tell him, bro, don't eat it, that's haram. That's fine. That's different because he has the same intention as you, right? But let's say someone has been doing something repeatedly. It's like a habit of his or her. And you know this is true. You know it too. And this person is in the act of doing it. And you're going to be like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not the right time to do that. That person, he's already or she's already used to this process. For you to come into in the middle of it, you shouldn't do that. So for us, we have to think a little bit and say, you know what, when's the right time? Maybe when I have built a close relationship with that person. Like Rasulullah ﷺ did. Who did he give da'wah to? Those who were closest to him first. So before we start pointing fingers, we have to da'wah is not supposed to be easy. Standing up for righteousness and going against falsehood is not easy. It's a process. So we have to come to a point where it's like, you know what, I have to build this relationship with this guy, and when we're close enough, I'll do my best to give da'wah, and I hope he gives me back that da'wah. That's how it has to be. There has to be love and concern, so we're not passing judgment, rather we're really helping somebody. And this is the last point I'll mention, something that people usually forget when it comes to this, is it's all about the physical actions. Like me saying this is wrong, me stopping him from doing wrong, me talking to other people about him doing wrong, right? Me creating an environment where he can't do wrong. That's great. That's fantastic. But what did I say about the Prophet ﷺ? He would give da'wah in the morning, and what else would he do? Pray at night time. We expect people to just change on a whim because of our amazing capabilities of telling him and giving him da'wah. Nothing can change unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives hidayat. We have to make dua for that person. There was a kid in the masjid one day, he was talking to me about someone else, and he was like, bro, you gotta talk to him. And he's like, bro, he's living deen and this and this and this. And I was like, did you do something about that? He's like, no, but you know, it's like, I can't, it's not my position. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Not everyone can be confrontational, that's fine. Then I asked him, did you make dua? Everyone can make dua. He's like, no, I didn't make dua. How do you expect yourself to be so capable of changing something when you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who changes everything? So we have to take that into consideration. If you really care about somebody, you will go through this entire process, and trust me, when you go through the process, you'll become exhausted. And then you'll be like, you know what, I really care for this person. Because I went through this entire process. And you're doing more work, he doesn't realize it. All he's doing is getting the aftermath. He's getting the aftermath of you building that relationship with him. He's getting the aftermath of you building that love with him. And then he'll take your advice. He might come to you for advice. He might ask you, hey, I have this going on. Do you have any advice for me? Because you are at that point in your relationship now. So for us, and I'm mentioning this because in the masjid, someone was blatantly just telling the other guy, you are not following the sunnah. And this is doing Jumu'ah. Like, you are not following the sunnah. The sunnah is to sit in the front row, come to the front row, fill up the front line, then go to the second line, then go to the third line. You don't love the Prophet? This was literally what he said. He said, you don't love the Prophet? And I'm just sitting there like, wow, this was an older person and talking to a youth, right? Complete disconnect. And then we're thinking like, why aren't the youth coming to the masjid? Because you have people who don't know how to approach properly, right? So we have to know how to approach that elderly as well. We can't just go up and be like, oh, you're wrong, this is not how you approach kids. Well, how are you approaching him? But beyond that, we have to think, how are we going to be when we're at that age? Because as we grow, we do get wisdom, but we also somehow develop this sense of arrogance. So it's really important when you're trying to help somebody out sincerely. Nasiha means sincere advice. When you're sincere trying to help somebody out, you'll feel that sincerity because it'll be on your mind. I hope it's okay. Let me give you a last example, then I will close. I was here spending the night one day, and Badr Azir knew I was sleeping here. And he knew I was up pretty late, and then I went to sleep. And he was asking, he's like, oh, you're going to pray here, you're going to pray Fajr, and then you're going to go? I was like, yeah. I slept past the adhan for the masjid across the street, right? So he prayed, and he texted me, and I didn't reply back to his text. He had concern for me. So what does he do? He comes in here, he knocks on the door. I woke up, I opened the door, and he's like, we have 20 minutes left. I was like, what? What is he talking about? I was so lost, right? Because I just woke up. He's like, I wait 20 minutes. I'm like, 20 minutes till what? It's like, till Fajr ends. Go ahead, you can go ahead and pray. I was like, oh yeah, thank you. Like, so I go and make wudu and I come back. Mind you, he just finished prayer. Then he comes in, and this is the concern he had for me. He's concerned about my salah. So if he tells me an advice about, if he's critical about me about something else, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I've seen this guy care about my salah. I know he really cares about me. I'm gonna listen to him. I'm coming in, I made wudu, and he's like, I'll pray with you. I'm like, didn't you just pray? He's like, it'll be nafil or sunnah for me, but it'll make you in congregational prayer. So you'll be in congregation. So I can have the reward of a congregational prayer. He's gonna pray again with me. So if this brother were to give me advice at any moment, I would take it. Because of the way he treated me. Right? So let's try to do our best to develop those kinds of relationships with our friends. And the goal isn't that this guy has an issue, that's why I'm going to develop a relationship. It shouldn't be like that. Everybody has issues. We have issues. It should be that let's develop relationships so we can help each other and grow together. With that, I'd like to conclude. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Jazakallah khair.